We are trying to awaken you to the true consciousness of yourselves.
Hey, what's up, Africa? This is your boy, Allan-Lloyd Jr Hamusokwe, and I'm here with my ever diplomatic co-host, Bonkhe Motsa.
Yes, hello everyone. Pleasure to be here. Today on the Pan-African State of Emergency, we are tackling a big one, the state of our Pan-African blocs.
Hey, that's right, Bonkhe. So we as Africans share a rich heritage as well as history,
Yes.
as well as a vibrant future. But we also face a lot of challenges. We at the African organization believe in unity and as well as economic integration for all Africans, no matter where they call home.
Exactly, Alan, and that's the African attitude, celebrating our shared struggles and triumphs despite the regional differences.
Hey, before we dive into the main topic why we're here today, let's take a quick look at the headlines, at the recent headlines that some of the blocs that we'll be discussing have been involved in today.
Great idea, Alan. Let's start with the East African Bloc Community, the EAC. They just announced a major infrastructure project, a new standard gauge railway connecting, I think, 4 countries, which is Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and South Sudan. This is big which is a big step towards regional integration and economic growth.
Hey, absolutely, Bonkhe. Now, over in ECOWAS, the economic community for West African states,
Yes.
there have been some concerns about the rising insecurity due to the recent droughts. The bloc is working on solutions, but it's a reminder of the importance of food security in Africa.
Yes, on a brighter note, let's come back to where we are. Let's head back to the south, where SADC is at, the Southern African Development Community, which has recently celebrated a successful rollout of a new mobile health initiative. We know it's almost an issue of all member states of how these health services actually reach the remote citizens of the country. So this is making healthcare services more accessible to millions in the region.
Hey, it's crazy how we can be able to see a lot of initiatives that are very progressive, but at the same time we also still have sort of challenges.
Yes.
At least this conversation starts out to let people understand why we're here today, and let us go into now to try and understand exactly what's the state that each of these blocks are actually in.
Yes.
Alright, fam. Let's dive deep into the heart of today's discussion, the state of our Pan-African blocs. So these economic and political groupings aim to foster cooperation between the African nations, but as with anything, there are triumphs as well as the challenges.
Yes, exactly, Alan. And today we'll be focusing on 4 key regions, which is West Africa, East Africa, Southern Africa, and then the Caribbean. Let's start by taking a trip to East Africa, where EAC, which is the East African Community Bloc, is making huge headlines.
Hey, you got that right, Bonkhe.
Yes.
Just recently, South Sudan joined the EAC,
Yes.
Making a significant step towards regional integration. This is a big win for trade and potentially creating a larger market for goods and services produced within the bloc.
Yes, but let's not get too celebratory, Alan. On the flip side, ongoing conflicts continue in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Ethiopia continue to pose serious challenges. And these instabilities not only create humanitarian crisis, but also hinder economic progress across the whole entire region.
Hey, absolutely, Bonkhe. And you know that while EAC boasts a whopping combined GDP of $200 billion.
Ooh, that's like the Elon Musk level.
Come on.
Africa has so much potential, Alan.
And this is just EAC. We're not talking about the other blocks here. This is just EAC.
Okay.
So, but even though we reached 200 billion in terms of our GDP, we have social issues like poverty and inadequate infrastructure, which are pressing concerns that all of us have to be concerned about.
Yes.
But however, to everything there's always black and white.
Yes.
And with with this here, there's a silver lining.
In EAC.
Yes. So did you know that they recently launched a single tourist visa initiative?
What?
Come on.
And that's what we're just talking about, Alan. Imagine the possibilities when actually we have stability in our sort of individual member states. And this initiative makes it easier for people to travel across member states. So if, I will imagine if you are from Uganda and traveling to Kenya, Tanzania, DRC, it's more accessible to those member states, and it boosts tourism and that regional cooperation we're looking for, and it's a win-win for both visitors and the bloc itself.
But let's now shift towards the ECOWAS, which is the Economic Community for West African States. So this is where the Niger, Oza,
Ghana as well.
Yes. So this is the bloc that has been in news for recent times because of political tensions, particularly regarding the military coups of Mali and Burkina Faso.
And these events highlight the importance of democratic governance for regional stability, Allen. A strong foundation of democracy fosters trust, creating an environment for sustainable economic development.
Yes, spot on, Bonkhe. But however, ECOWAS is also making strides towards economic integration. So did you hear of the plans of the common currency? The name is going to be called ECO.
What? And this has been a long African dream for our forefathers. It's fascinating, and a common currency could be a game changer for trade within the bloc. I mean, it will simplify transactions, it will reduce currency exchange cost, and potentially boost that intra-African trade, which we know that after that agreement, I'm sure a specimen is coming for it, where we'll just break down what after means and what are the advantages that after will come with for the member states and for the blocs.
This initiative sure has the potential too, Bonkhe, but let's not forget the challenge.
Yes.
ECOWAS still grapples with issues like inadequate infrastructure and reliance on raw material exports. Diversifying economies and investing in infrastructure are crucial for the long-term growth within the bloc.
So now let's head south to the vibrant region of Southern Africa where we are. SADC, which is the Southern African Development Community, has been working tirelessly to address energy shortages that has plagued many member states. I think also us as a country, I know it's been part of our strategy is trying to solve this actual energy problem.
It's crazy. I just want to be able to tell you of like a personal experience. So recently, as you know, I just went to Zambia.
Yes.
So in my experience in Zambia, here in Swaziland, the load shedding hasn't been too much.
Yes.
In Zambia, it's a totally different, situation where electricity now is like a wish.
What?
Yes, like you are not sure if it's going to be electricity when you get home or not. And if there is, you're clearly happy. But if it does come, it's going to go. But that's not sustainable, you know what I mean? So I can actually detest exactly to some of the sort of energy challenges that we've been facing. But their efforts to strengthen the regional power grid are commendable, because reliable access to electricity is essential for powering homes, industries, and businesses. That's the backbone of the economy,
Talking of issues that are still plaguing the SADC sort of community is the impact of climate change. I think recent extreme weather events like the droughts and floods have highlighted the need for climate resilient infrastructure and agricultural practices.
And the interesting thing, I guess, that you find with this climate change problems is that the way that the farmers end up, deciding what to farm next, especially when they've experienced the climate change, ends up sort of affecting our food insecurity sort of space. So it's very important that all of us, even at home, be able to pay attention to this climate change, because we have to make sure that even though we go through these necessary initiatives that sort of help within our environment, we still have to make sure that our sort of habits continue the same way, especially focusing within the food security. So adapting to climate change requires innovative solutions and regional collaboration, but it's not all doom and gloom, Did you know the SADC has a vibrant youth population?
Yes, and investing in skills development and entrepreneurship initiatives can empower young people and drive economic growth within the bloc. I think in the kingdom, I was part of the skills, I think career expos where the education ministry will go out to the different regional blocks within the country, within the blocks where now recently we are meeting high school kids and we empower them how to actually look at, it's not longer, I think I had a slogan where, starting a business is no longer an option. Just making sure, the younger generation coming through, understands that it's not just about going to varsity now. You can actually start your own business and actually change your family life and actually environment, your community where you're coming from.
And that's exactly important, harnessing the potential of the young is critical for the sustainable development for the SADC future.
Yes. finally, let's cross the Atlantic and explore the CARICOM, which is the Caribbean Community and Common Market. This bloc with its significant African diaspora population faces unique challenges and opportunities.
You're right, Bonkhe, because many CARICOM nations are actually island states, particularly vulnerable to to this climate change and natural disasters problems that we've been talking about. Building resilience and adopting sustainable development practices is crucial for their future.
Yes, but let's not forget the strength of CARICOM.
Okay.
The bloc is known for its vibrant culture, tourism industry, and skilled workforce, which is what we need as Africans, especially in the continent, dealing with the diaspora. Yes. However, Allan, you mentioned social issues that they still grapple with as a bloc.
Definitely, Bonkhe. So while tourism is a major economic driver in CARICOM, many Caribbean nations still struggle with poverty and inadequate inequality. Take Haiti, for example. Despite its rich cultural heritage and a strong sense of community, the country faces high rates of poverty and unemployment, as we recently heard. Rest in peace. The
president. Yes,
the
president was shot.
Was assassinated.
And we're still not sure what actually happened there. And these are the I think we that's why as Africans we need to come together and actually be able, if a head of state passes away in such a manner, we should be able to come together and actually investigate these issues. It can no longer happen
ourselves, and then there should be a report that is published so that also us within the African diaspora understand exactly what's actually going on, because it's funny that other states wouldn't just let that happen to any other state, but when it happens to Africans, then it's all of a sudden like it's okay. And then if you actually go inside, you find that some of the nations that participated within the actual assassination, they didn't even say anything about some things, but were not there. Were not there.
True. There are reasons for optimism, Allan. CARICOM recently launched a regional skills development program aimed at equipping young people with skills needed to thrive in the job market. This initiative holds great promise for the future of the bloc.
Hey, that's a great point, Bonkhe. But remember, the state of the Pan-African blocs is a complex issue. These are challenges, but also incredible stories of resilience, innovation, and collaboration. By working together, we can overcome these obstacles and build a brighter future for all Africans.
Yes. Talking of this bloc, I think we as a continent, we haven't actually even invested ourselves in the diaspora. Let's be honest. I think they were the first ones. Is it they did the first revolution?
80.
We are not acknowledging that history, that actually they're the ones who propelled us to actually even gain independence. Yes.
And that is true. It's just that the fact that now some of our institutions aren't strengthened in the manner that other organizations or other races have been able to strengthen theirs. But I feel like this is an opportunity for us youth to be able to now come through and sort of bandage some of the cracks that are within our society.
So now let's jump across the Atlantic and explore the Caribbean Community and Common Market, which is CARICOM abbreviation. This bloc with this significant African diaspora population faces unique vulnerabilities.
You're right, Bonkhe. Many CARICOM nations are actually island states, particularly susceptible to climate change as well as natural disasters. Building resilience and adopting sustainable development practices are critical for their future,
Yes, absolutely. However, CARICOM also boasts a vibrant culture and skilled workforce. Do you know Barbados recently announced a groundbreaking initiative offering remote work visas to attract digital nomads?
Hey! Wow, that's crazy, Hey, that's a bold move, Bonkhe. This initiative could attract talent and inject significant foreign economy currency into the Barbados economy. It's a great example of CARICOM countries leveraging their strength to new opportunities.
Yes, I wanted to. Can we break down this? What really is this opportunity of having digital nomads? Is it freelancers that are traveling? What are these?
Like
So, because they give visas, right?
I know, so O's can be able to come through to the
Yes.
country and show that they are digital nomad,
Mm.
that they work like out of the office.
Yes. Yes.
So now O's have come to the country.
I see what you meant. I see what you meant. So it ends up creating opportunities for
More money within the economy. I think that's the best situation. Opening work visas, because visas is all come crap.
yes.
So it's more money within the economy.
Mm.
So we continue, we can continue. Yeah, okay. Shift of focus. Okay. Now, Bonkhe, let's delve into the concept of Pan-Africanism as envisioned by the scholar Dr. Amos Wilson in his book, The Blueprint for Black Power.
Hey, sure, Allen Wilson argues that economic empowerment is crucial for black liberation, because the same thing we were talking about before, the fact that, it's clear that when we say we got independence, after all of this interaction with colonies, when we were with these white colonies, we actually never got our economic, we were never empowered economically. He emphasizes the combined economic potential of Africa, of African diaspora, including African Americans. And we Africans, from the continent, we haven't even, made a connection with the American. I think it's through the other artistic, other sectors which are not really important when it comes to economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, and how actually we can spend money, how they can spend money here, and how we can help leverage their money here, where it's much more safe here, where actually they're spending money within their own culture, within their race.
You're right, eh? Because Wilson also suggests that by pooling resources and building strong institutions within Africa and the diaspora, Africans can leverage a greater self-reliance and bargaining power on a global stage,
Absolutely, and this African, it's not just about money. This, making Africa a better place. Allen Wilson also emphasizes the importance of dismantling structures of white power that have historically disadvantaged Africans.
And you're speaking of that, and as we're going through the book here, which is that particular book that we got, we were able to sort of understand that there have been structurally different sort of institutions within, and these are like cultural institutions, not per se like physical. These are like cultural institutions or psychological institutions that end up now becoming the sort of basis of our underdevelopment. And he sort of talks about some, but also now tries to sort of, let us see clearly some of the initiatives that were presented to us as a way for us to sort of become better people, but with bad intentions.
Yes, absolutely. The concept of Africa is free reminds us that our struggles are interconnected, and our success depends on working together across the continent and the diaspora. And I think that's actually part of the reason why we started this, trying to make sure that Africans actually come together and we're united in our thoughts, and then economically we can be united. Because it starts from the psychology of what we think an African is, or what we think we are as Africans.
That's true. Alright fam, that brings us to the end of this episode of the Pan-African State of Emergency. We explored the challenges and triumphs faced by various Pan-African blocs, reminding us that no African is free until we achieve a shared prosperity.
Absolutely, Allen. But remember, this isn't just about acknowledging problems. It's about finding solutions for African youth, reminding us, as Professor Wilson emphasized, economic empowerment is key.
Hey, you're right, Bonkhe. The good news is there are inspiring initiatives happening, across the continent. Did you know that Kenya recently launched a mobile money network, a platform specifically designed for small businesses owned by women?
Wow, that's fantastic. And in financial inclusion for women, entrepreneurship is always critical for boosting local economies throughout Africa.
Exactly. And this is the I'm an African attitude, in action. We celebrate each other's successes and learn from each other's experiences,
And that's where you, our listener or no viewer, come in. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the challenges and opportunities across Africa? It can be in your own country, it can be within your regional bloc, or it can be in the whole continent as a whole.
Or even in your own neighborhood.
In your own municipality, in your own ward, or in your own actual chiefdom, if you're coming from that type of environment. How can we then work together to achieve a pan-African progress where, we see Africa moving forward, we see, our municipalities becoming metropolis, where we see, an African accessing, basic needs as normal, where Africa can afford, every African citizen can afford just basic needs. And we can move forward now. What can we create now with that energy?
Yes, because we have to really, as you're saying, create a baseline so that we're able now to say that, okay, this is where we were probably 10 years ago, and now that in the future we're going to be here. So absolutely, so please share your ideas on the social media platforms. Please comment down. Let's build a vibrant online community where we can exchange ideas and support each other.
And remember, even those small actions can create a ripple effect. Support, start from where you are, when, I remember when we one of the companies we started, AgriPacks, when we were just dealing with the different retailers, when we discovered there's actually an African or there's actually a local person who actually owns this business, we actually more, we're willing to negotiate even, fair prices with him, where we understand what this business means to the community.
Yes. And together with the African attitude of unity and shared responsibility, we can build a brighter future for all Africans. Thank you for joining us on this journey.
Until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and remember, you are a vital part of the Pan-African story.
Yeah, so don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for stimulating discussions on Pan-Africanism, like, share, and leave a review to help us spread the word and help us spread the word. Thanks.
Yes, and you can follow Allan on social media.
Yes. Allan-Lloyd Hamusokwe. It's Allan-Lloyd Hamusokwe on Facebook as well as Instagram.
Yes, it's Bonkhe. I have a page on Facebook, Bonkhe Motsa. You can go just follow, and we'll be posting some of the material, some of the snippets on the social media platforms. And of course, we do have a website for the organization I'm an African, where you can become a patron, member, join the community. Yes. We also be planning to visit African cities where we can actually discuss this problem.
And actually get involved with the development, because we feel that we have to be intentional within our development. Me and Bonkhe constantly talk about how development, like over the line between unplanned development and planned development. There has to be some sort of balance, equality between the two. Where in the sense that we have to be very intentional with what exactly we want to do.
Yes. So shout out, we're done.
Shout out to Rainport.
Shout out to Rainport.
Shout out to the production. Out here. And this is the first.
For many,
we are planning to have at least 100 episodes minimum.
And different locations, different personalities. We really plan to get our hands dirty. We feel that it's up to us for us to be able to to change our environment, and we can't be always waiting for international organizations in order for them to be able to come through and change what we actually feel is a problem.
Facts. Couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
Shout out.
We are trying to awaken you to the true consciousness of yourselves.